Hi, it's Vex, and today we're doing another EDH deck tech with our friend Raffine Scheming Seer. That is right, our Esper friend. I love this unique demon Sphinx or Sphinx demon. White, blue, and black. Legendary creatures, Sphinx demon, as I said before, I guess. Got flying, evasion, ward 1, semi-evasion, hexproof-ish. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So connive is draw X cards and discard X cards. Put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each non-land card discarded this way. So that's a lot to unpack. I love these commanders because it makes you do, it's kind of like two themes in one, right? Drawing, discarding, and attacking. And it's really different for Esper because Esper is usually more of a control-y color and such. But here you want to attack, you want to draw, you want to discard. So what we're doing is, of course, when you discard things, we want to reanimate things like big fatties, like Consecrated Sphinx. But we also need little teeny creatures to connive first. Raffine does connive really well. Raffine's a 1/4, but don't underestimate that, because if you connive enough, you can get Raffine big, 5, 6, 7. I've seen 8/11 Raffines. You know, you can do commander damage. So don't think that one doesn't matter with commander damage. It does matter. So we got small creatures to attack, big creatures to reanimate, a reanimation spell to reanimate things. So that's what Raffine is all about. And also, don't forget about Raffine getting bigger. And as always, have all your tokens. The deck list is in the description below. So let's get started. I love reanimation spells, and I love fatties. I love just playing big creatures, reanimating big creatures, cheating them into play. I don't know. And anything with big creatures, because those are the flashy creatures with insanely cool abilities. Very powerful abilities because they cost a lot of mana. But the cool part is we could cheat them, or eventually we could hard cast these things. Let's start with the smaller fatty, Consecrated Sphinx. Right there, everybody knows that. It's getting reprinted in double masters, I believe. Not double masters, double masters. What are quad masters? You draw 2 cards for every card your opponent draws. Elish Norn, love this card. Makes your little guys bigger, makes their big guys smaller. Vigilance, I wish Elish Norn flew, but does not have flying. Sepulchral Primordial, I love this card. It is one of the fatties, original fatties from Gate Crash that I love reanimating before all these other fatties came out. I guess this one's out before, but it's Intimidate, which is kind of like Fear, basically Fear. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, you may put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. A little reanimation theme going on here, right? We have Shieldred, which is also reanimation themed fatty. Beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacks a creature. Beginning of your upkeep, reanimate a creature. Sweet. Archon of Cruelty. I love Archon of Cruelty. It's not the most powerful in EDH. It's very powerful 1/1. When ETBs or attacks, opponent sacks a creature or Planeswalker, discards a card, loses 3 life, you draw a card, gain 3 life. So it's not technically reanimation, but it's very heavy card advantage. So I love just getting Archon. I love the ETB and attack trigger, so you get to do it over and over again. Razakath gets to tutor. Villas gets to draw tons of cards and kill creatures. And also, whenever you lose life, you draw cards. So these are the 7 fatties. Sometimes people ask me, why don't you have more fatties? It's because we're going through our deck pretty quickly, and we need room for the little creatures to attack, to trigger the connive, to put these fatties in your graveyard, and the reanimation spells to get these fatties back. Speaking of reanimation spells, these are reanimation creatures. So you can technically reanimate these creatures, then reanimate another fatty or another creature, and continue the reanimation loop, which is pretty fun. Priest of Foul Rites from Modern Horizons 2, which I love because it does reanimation, right? Pay 3 life, sack it, return target creature card from graveyard to the battlefield. Or you can unearth it, which is you can get it back from the graveyard. It gets haste and you can sack it right away and reanimate. So that's really cool. Two ways to reanimate on this one. Body Launder, brand new from Streets of New Capenna. 2 black Death Touch. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, it connives. Sweet, it's got a connive keyword there. Then when Body Launder dies, return another target non-rogue creature card with equal or lesser power from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's cool. Remember, Elish Norn only has 4 power. This one does connive, so it does increase its own power, so it's really cool. Gets creatures back when it dies. Karmic Guide, ETB, reanimate, pro-brack. It does have the echo cost, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It could die to be reanimated again, so it's kind of cool. You got Junji, Midnight Sky. This is from Neon Dynasty. I love this card too, Flying Menace. The Menace is tricky there. Some people don't see that, but it does have Menace. And when it dies, each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. I've had that happen to me multiple times. That is ridiculous what that does. The cool part is the next one is the reanimation mode. Put target non-dragon creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose 2 life. Usually, if you have nothing to reanimate, the 2 cards, that is a 6 card, 6 cards from your opponent, so that's insane. Silent Titan gets a little 3 mana value or less back from the graveyard to the battlefield, so little, not full reanimation. It can reanimate pre-spell rights or your little guys that have, sacrifice themselves in combat to connive. Some graveyard adjacent or graveyard related cards. Angel of Ruins, right there. It is a fatty. It is a fatty, I guess, but I put it in this section because it's got Plane Cycling 2, which is really cool. So it gets itself naturally in the graveyard. You don't have to worry about conniving. Then it ETBs, exile 2 target artifacts or enchantments. So super cool. It does have flying. Then we have some little dudes here, Master of Death. When it ETBs, Surveil 2, but that's not the important part. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it Master of Death is in your graveyard, you may pay 1 life and return it to your hand. So you keep discarding Master of Death and keep returning to your hand for value. Malevolent Hermit is really cool because it's a little dude. Right here, you can sack and counter a non-creature spell unless they pay 3. Then you could, if it's in your graveyard from conniving or sacking, you could play it and do Benevolent Geist. It is flying, which is evasive. Non-creature spells you control can't be countered. If Benevolent Geist will be put into graveyard anywhere, exile it, so it doesn't get a second, third life. Then you have your 2 Encore creatures, Amphimutineer, Rashaka Debaser. This is good removal. This is also a little more reanimation. It steals from your opponent's graveyard, so if you do Encore it, you steal from all opponent's graveyards, which is sweet. Amphimutineer is sweet to Encore. You could exile for 3 things. Archfiend of Ifnir. This is a lost card from Amonkhet, Demon. Where you cycle or discard another card, put -1/-1 counter each creature your opponent's control. So with Raffine, conniving, you could really go ham there. So those are graveyard adjacent cards. Here's some of the little dudes. Now remember, a lot of people say, oh, I want to attack with 50 dudes, connive 50 times. Raffine still gets good card advantage, even if you connive 1, connive 2, or connive 3. So just you don't have to attack with an Alpha Strike army to get a benefit from Raffine. Conniving 1 is decent because you attack with Raffine and connive. Anyways, these are small creatures. I love Ornithopter Paradise. Yes, you can just whack in for 0 damage. They're probably not going to block unless they have a big creature that can eat it. That's okay. Or just use it as a Mandork later on when they can block. I love that these 2, Solemn Sim, Lacquer, and Burnished Heart, you could just gain your value from Solemn, go right to the red zone, do your things, get Solemn destroyed, or connive. If it's destroyed, draw a card. Burnished Heart, you can just attack. With somebody blocks, you just sack it, do some things. Mole Drifter, it's cool because it gets itself to the graveyard, can be reanimated, or just a little flying creature that gives you value. Ledger Shredder connives whenever any player, not just you, casts a second spell each turn. It connives. Esper Sentinel, yes, this is a card advantage engine, but you can tap it sideways like that. And then one of our really cool cards here, Timna the Weaver. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may pay X life or X the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn. If you do, draw X, so you can draw up to 3 cards. So that also helps you, do some card advantage. These are card advantage. Actually, these are the card advantage engines, but can also attack. These are the other attacking creatures. You have Selfless Spirit, just in case you do that Alpha Strike. You need Indestructible. You can sack it. That's cool. You can attack with it, declare attack, declare the connive trigger, and then just sack it afterwards. So you still get the connive and do its ability. Kamiz, I don't know. Obscura Oculus. That's hard to say. 1+ Esper. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. It connives. Okay, that's cool. Then choose another attacking creature with less power. That creature gains double strike until end of turn. Alright, that's cool. This is also our secondary commander. You can swap in and out. It does do the conniving, makes things unblockable. It's really cool because if you attack alone when you attack, right, this creature can't be blocked. It doesn't say another target. It says target creature. So you could just make this one unblockable or Raffine. Or make this one blockable, give Raffine double strike. So that's cool. Adeline Resplendent Cathar, 1 white. I've included so many decks, token decks. I think my Jetmir deck had it. Vigilance, when its power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Just really cool. But the important part is when you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker. So that's pretty cool. It does, these 1/1s don't trigger the connive because this goes on a stack when you attack. This goes on a stack when you attack, but it gives you extra material for later so you can trigger connive. We have the most feared turn 1 play of all time. Maybe it's Esper Sentinel, but Seer Ascendant. It's a life linking. As long as you have 30 or more life, which you do at the start of the game because you have 40, it's +5/+5 and has flying. So you get a 6/6 flying for 1 on turn 1. Again, the most feared flying turn 1's play. Then turn 2, you whack somebody, gain 6 life. So it's even harder to shrink this thing. Baleful Strix, flying Death Touch, hard to block this thing. Does ETB draw a card. Dauthi Voidwalker, very hard to block. It does have Shadow. Does Graveyard Hate and sacks itself to put yourself in the graveyard, which is kind of cool. Really synergizes with the deck. Did I mention this is a Reanimator deck? Because you have lots of Reanimator cards. Cool part is we usually get one good creature in the bin and reanimate them using a traditional reanimate, animate, Day Necromancy. Those just get creatures back. Aghady's Awakening is a mono double face card, can reanimate multiple things. I love that card. Unburial Rites can reanimate from the graveyard, so you can discard Unburial Rites to use its flashback cost. Command the Dread Horde is one of the insanely good reanimation spells. Here, choose any number of target creatures and/or planeswalker cards in graveyards, any graveyards. Command the Dread Horde deals damage to you equal to the total converted mana cost of those cards, so mana value. Put them onto the battlefield under your control. So you get to steal everything, you pay a little life, steal it all. That's what Command the Dread Horde does. And that's why I tell you to have Graveyard Hate. Even for your own graveyard sometimes, because they can steal your fatties with Command the Dread Horde. Rise of the Dark Realms is the ultimate reanimator spell. Put all creature cards from all graveyards on the battlefield under your control. It's very difficult to play it on spell table. I've seen somebody do it with 1,000,000 infant tokens. It could happen. I just reserve this card for real life. Malakir Rebirth. These are reanimation adjacent. This one just keeps the creature alive if it dies. Mono double face card. Extremely good. Anything that's mono double face card, extremely good. Sphinx Reclamation. Return target permanent with mana value 3 or less from graveyard to the battlefield. This spell is cast from graveyard, you may copy it. And it does have flashback. So having the flashback really helps with Raffine because you can just discard these cards and just play them later. Besides the removal on the creatures, we have generic, good stuff removal, swords, Englishman making a new Void Ren from Streets of New Capenna, Generous Gift, so targeted removal. Then we have mass removal and Cyclonic Rifts, Toxic Deluge, Vanquish the Horde. We don't have Farewell because 2 modes in the Farewell kind of wreck us, the exile part and the exile creatures part and the exile graveyards part. We don't want exiling. We want to put it on our graveyard. So we don't have Farewell, but Farewell is very good. We have utility cards. Speaking about graveyards, Soul Guide Lantern, we always want Graveyard Hate because, as you can see, we are a graveyard deck. If the opponents don't have Graveyard Hate, we can do whatever we want. So Graveyard Hate is very important. You also need to learn how to play around Graveyard Hate. Necromancy and stuff like that are instants, so you get Necromancy if somebody wipes your graveyard out. We have Swiftfoot Boots. We're going the other way. We don't have Lightning Greaves because Raffine does target. It says target attack creature connives. So we want the boots instead of Lightning Greaves. Expedition Map, we are playing Cabal Coffers Overboard combo because we do have fatties that we want to cast. They're black colored fatties. So Fact or Fiction and Treasure Coups, good card draw spells. Fact or Fiction does put things in the graveyard. Treasure Coups uses the graveyard for delving, so that is sweet. Teferi's Ageless Insight lets you draw 2 cards and discard 1 with your conniving, so really good card draw. Along with Creature Ramp, we have some other non-creature ramp spells that I really like, including in this Esper deck. I like Thurn Dynamo because it adds 3. We are playing fatties along with Chalice. I was about to say Chalice Void, Everflowing Chalice, so you can multi-kick it to get more mana. And you have Smothering Tide, so these are 3 big mana spells right here. Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, the Signets, Fellwar Stone, all good cards, good to ramp. Raffine is a 3-drop, but we don't usually want Raffine on turn 2. So we want to play maybe a Mana Rock, then a creature, then Raffine, because what happens is you could play a creature, then play Raffine, attack with a creature, then trigger Raffine's abilities. Raffine doesn't have to attack to trigger the ability, so that's why we are playing heavy ramp. But our goal is not to play Raffine on turn 3. It's just continue the pressure. The mana base is pretty simple. 3-color mana base. Usually 3 colors are pretty smooth. You have Raffine's Tower. There is a Triumph for every 3-color combination. So Raffine has her tower, of course. Command Tower. So 2 towers. Exotic Orchard. Love this in 3-color decks. You have your channel lands, you have your battle bond lands, you have shock lands, and you have your slow Innistrad lands. So those are dual lands. I would suggest not to connive away lands that much. You keep playing lands, you want to make your land drop every turn. Don't miss land drops. If conniving makes you miss a land drop, just discard something with some graveyard synergy instead. The rest of the mana base, more graveyard hit, Pachuca Bog. I love Shizo Death Storehouse because target legendary creature gains fear. You can put fear on Raffine. Cabal Coffers Urborg combo, as I mentioned before. Ancient Tomb because we're playing big mana spells. Vault of Archangel because you are attacking and blocking. And giving your creatures Death Touch makes a hard blocking decision for your opponents, even with the threat of activation. Maybe be like, hey, look what I got here. Be careful. So show them that threat of activation. You could also copy things like a Cabal Coffers with Decimate Stage Vesuva, or High Market, which lets you sack creatures, get them in the graveyard. Then we have our Gyri Sanitarium, which each player draws a card, discards a card. It's like Connive, it doesn't do a +1/+1 counter. Then Field of the Dead, because more little creatures to attack with. Why not? We also have the basic lands, these gorgeous basic lands from Streets of New Capenna, as you can see. All right, so that is the deck. If you're interested in the deck list, it is in the description below. So before we go, don't forget to thumbs up the video, smash subscribe button, hit notification bell to be alerted for new videos in the future. We are going to do some goal fishing, so we're not actually going anywhere. We're just pausing the video, shuffling this deck up, do a little goal fishing. So we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Turn 1, Raffine, Scheming Seer. Just really, really Demon Sphinx. Just want to ruin our day. Just trying to scheme and do something conniving, right? Let's see this hand here. No big fatties to discard, so let's just see what we got here. We got a 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop-ish. This could be a 3-drop. You can reanimate right away with this. That's cool. You draw tons of cards. You have 2 drops, so you can attack right away in turn 3. No ramp, which is what it is. All right, let's see what we got. I like keep this. Teferi's Ageless Insight is a good 4-drop. We will play this Hollowed Fountain tapped. Say pass. Turn 2. Draw Seer Clouds. Sweet. Seer Clouds is not. Seer Clouds and Hollowed Fountains does not cast Priest of Fell Rites, so you need to play your Swamp. Cast Priest of Fell Rites. So that's really cool. Here, let's actually move everything over because our graveyard is important in this game, right? All right, turn 3. So now we have choices here. We can play Raffine or Espo Sentinel. Wow. Okay. We'll play our Seer Clouds. We could play Raffine and attack and start conniving, but we don't have big fatties. So why not just draw cards with Timna the Weaver first? Here, we could Mole Drifter. Evoke Mole Drifter, reanimate Mole Drifter, draw more cards, but we have to discard. If we had a fatty, discarding the hand size is a way to get fatties in the graveyard, but we don't have any yet. So I think Timna is our best play here. Good thing we got that Swamp, 1 black mana. We can attack with Priest of Fell Rites, then lose a life, draw a card. Okay, speaking of fatties, there you go. Then we say pass. Turn 4. Now what we do is draw our card, land. Do we have a land? We have Otawara. Right there, lots of blue, missing a black, unfortunately. Okay, so first things first is we want to keep this because we want to play our Raffine. Because this is a free way to reanimate our fatty. That's cool, so we'll play our Raffine there. We'll attack with Timna only. Trigger, we will say when you attack target attack creature, connives X, 1. So we'll draw a card and discard a card. Oh, another fatty. How convenient. Depends which fatty you want to discard. I think I will discard Villas. Villas requires a lot of black mana. I wish I had Urborg, but I don't. So let's actually discard Archon Cruelty. Right there. Actually, yeah, discard Archon Cruelty. Then we discard a creature, or non-land, so we'll put +1/+1 counter on Timna the Weaver. Then deal some damage. Timna does gain lifelink, which is super cool. Gains that 3 life, so you can do Priest of Fell Rites. If it does come damage to a player, you can draw a card. So that's even more convenient. We did play our land. It's not black land, unfortunately. We did save the Esper Sentinel land. what we could do is play our Esper Sentinel right there, maybe attack with it, or keep it back. Probably not attack with it, we like it too much. Yeah, we'll just sack Priest of Fell Rites, get our Archon Cruelty right back. Get ready to wreck somebody's day, pick the opponent with the biggest creature, make him sack a creature, discard a card, lose 3 life. I draw a card and gain 3 life. More cards. Command Tower. So now we're at 7 cards, we're doing our thing. We have a reanimation spell in the graveyard because we can unearth and sack it right away. So we pass the turn. This is our graveyard. Not as full as we'd like it to be, but we did reanimate Archon Cruelty, an 8-drop on turn 5. Or turn 4. Now here's our turn 5. Ellis Norn, all the fatties keep coming. There's our 5th land. What do we do? Well, let's connive. Get these two in the graveyard right there. We will attack, and we'll make Timna connive. We'll trigger the Archon Cruelty. We'll draw a card first. Wait for his bobble. That's sweet. And then Timna will connive 2. We can also attack with Raffine. Let's say we can. We'll connive 3 with Timna. 1, 2, 3. We'll discard 2 fatties and I don't know what else. Oh god, so many things to discard. We'll keep our land, keep our ramp. We'll discard on barrel rights because we'll discard. We want to reanimate twice. We'll discard Karmic Guide. There we go. 3 non-land creatures, and then put 3 counters. You see how these Timna gets so much bigger? Timna was a 2/2, now it's a 6/6 lifelink. And if we attack 3 different creatures, let's say we deal damage, somebody blocks Raffine, they bounce off. Deal damage, we get a draw with Timna 2 times. Right there. Okay, so we're just going 8 wild with our draw. I think we could reanimate a big fatty. I think we could just play Thorn Dynamo. Right there. Can we play Thorn Dynamo and reanimate big fatty? Oh, we should discard on barrel rights. And we can play Factor Fiction, but I think what we do is we just, for next turn, we're just going to play a Thorn Dynamo. Just in case somebody has a board wipe, they need board wipe Archon Cruelty. We'll just play a Thorn Dynamo, play and crack a Wayfarer's Bauble. Just get more ramp. Ramp is important with this deck. We're not hurting for fatties to reanimate. We'll get that swamp that we desperately need. Black mana. Oh, not yet, not here. It's in the bottom of our deck. Let's swap into play. Right there, we have 1 black mana, does nothing, and we'll pass the turn. Shuffle this deck up real quick. Turn 6. So I just love setting up our mana, so now we can actually cast any fatty that we draw. Okay, tap all our creatures. Oh, we forgot to discard. We have 8 cards. We will discard. We'll discard a Ganjo because we do have card draw and Morphic Pool. Okay, so turn 6, we'll draw a card. Little dude right there. We'll play our Morphic Pool there. So now we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. Just sweet. It's turn 6. Yeah, it's turn 6. So what can we do? We can reanimate. We can kill something. We could wipe the board, then reanimate. Why not? Let's say the board got really dangerous. We could just gung-ho attack. Just do it anyways. Suicide attack. Usually before a board wipe, you want to do a suicide attack, which I love doing. Suicide attack. Gain some life. Draw a card of Archon Cruelty. We shouldn't have played the land. We got Cabal Coffers, but we don't have board. That's fine. Connive. Here. Well, we gotta draw cards first. 1, 2, 3. And we discard 3 cards. So I think at this point we're not discarding Rise of the Dark Realms, but we'll start discarding creatures because we can actually play Rise of the Dark Realms. Discard, discard, discard. All our stuff right there. They're all creatures, so Timna gets huge. Let's say somebody plays some crazy creatures. What we could do is Vanquish the Horde. Here, Rise of Dark Realms does cost 9, so do we have 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10, so we can't Vanquish and Rise, unfortunately. But we could just Vanquish the Horde, take care of you know, any problems that arise. So we'll just play Vanquish the Horde for 2. Vanquish everything to the dead zone. I will vanquish this to the graveyard. To the graveyard too. So now I have all this stuff in the graveyard. And then what we could do is play a Signet. Have 1 floating. Unblurrow Rights. So 1 floating. Have 3, 4, 5. We'll just Unbarrow Rights one of these big daddy creatures. Let's see here. Well, if we tap correctly, we'll Unbarrow Rights with 2 black mana. We'll do it and get Villas onto the battlefield. Right there. So pay 1 black, pay 2 life, target creature gets -1/-1. When you pay life, draw that many cards. Just sweet. Assuming we just pay 4 life, draw 4 cards, give -2/-2 on somebody else's turn. We go to our turn. We'll probably play 7th turn for fun, right? We gotta do it for fun. We'll play a 7th turn for fun. Draw a card, Expedition Map. Oh, that's an Orboar combo. Too bad we didn't play it last turn. Cabal Coffers. Unfortunately, but we could just say screw it. Play our Cabal. How many swamps do we have? 2 swamps. It makes no extra mana if we play it as a land, but we'll just suck it up and play it here. We just won't tap it. We'll just save it for later. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll play Rise of the Dark Realms, and then we will take this giant stack of creatures and put it all back onto the battlefield. Raffine, Archon Cruelty, Timna, Baleful Strix, Mole Drifter, Expert Sentinel, Kamzid, whatever its name is, Karmic Guide, Elish Norn, Priest of Fell Rights, all of it, plus all of our opponent's creatures. And then we win the game. Anyways, that's essentially how it works. I love just doing reanimation spells. You got Archon Cruelty early on turn 2 or 3, 4, I think, turn 4 maybe, which is super duper sweet. I love it. I love reanimating big fatties, and I love making the opponent squeal when they see a Big Daddy 8-drop in their face on turn 4, way ahead of curve, faster than a green deck can do it, and you get the cool trigger. So that is super, super duper sweet. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, give the video a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos in the future. I have the deck list in the description below, along with all my cool affiliate links if you want to support the channel any further. And as always, have a wonderful day.